Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're setting our sights on Maui, but maybe not in the way you'd first think.
Right, we're looking beyond the usual tourist stuff.
Exactly. We're digging into a potentially smarter way to get around the island. You pointed us towards some info, a PDF called Specials Rent, a used local car from Frank's Friendly Cars XL.pdf.
Yeah, and it sparked this idea. Could renting a used local car from this place, Frank's, be the key to a more, affordable and maybe even authentic Maui trip?
That's our mission today, to unpack that idea, look at the pros, the cons, the options, help you figure out if it makes sense.
So we'll tackle the big questions, like why even rent a used car? Why Frank's Friendly Cars specifically? What cars do they actually have? And what are the costs?
And the policies, the fine print, always important.
Definitely. So let's just jump right in. Why would someone visiting Maui deliberately choose a used local car? Seems counterintuitive, maybe.
Well, it's interesting. The document you sent actually gives us some clues right from their customers. Quotes like, we don't need anything fancy.
Right, or it's just going to sit at the condo most of the time.
Exactly. And as long as it's reliable, we don't care what it looks like. It sounds like pure practicality is driving this for a lot of people.
It really does, and there's this underlying thing, isn't there? It's people who aren't trying to, project some kind of image with their rental.
Yeah, the document even makes this kind of fun comparison to Warren Buffett.
Oh, yeah.
How he famously drove older cars for ages. It's like, your car doesn't define you. Right.
Exactly. It's about function over form, and maybe putting your money towards, well, the actual Maui experience, not just the car that gets you there.
And there's another angle, too. The document mentions people wanting a car that sort of blends in more, less flashy.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Driving something less conspicuous might help you feel a bit less like a typical tourist. Maybe avoid some unwanted attention, too.
Like you're not screaming rental car full of visitors stuff quite so loudly.
Precisely. It might even lead to, I don't know, slightly different interactions, maybe feel a bit more connected to the place.
Plus, and I think this is a big one for some people, choosing Frank's is a way to actively support a local Maui business.
Absolutely. In a place like Maui where tourism is huge, choosing local over a big chain, well, it makes a difference. Your money stays right there in the community.
It feels good, doesn't it, knowing you're contributing directly?
Yeah, if you're the kind of traveler who values that sort of thing, who wants authentic experiences, this aligns really well.
Okay, so the why makes sense. Practicality, value, maybe blending in, supporting local. Now let's zoom in on Frank's Friendly Cars itself. What's their story?
Well, first off, they've been around for a while. Since 2007, apparently. That's just some staying power,
Yeah.
They must be doing something right.
15 plus years, yeah, that's stability. And they're based in Kahului.
Right near the airport, OGG. Just a mile away. And crucially, they offer 24/7 airport pickup and return. And get this, no waiting in line.
Okay, that sounds amazing. Skipping the rental counter queue after a flight, huge bonus.
Isn't it just? And it's not like some tiny operation. They mention having up to 50 cars. It's presented as a professionally run business, not just a side gig.
So big enough to be reliable, but maybe small enough to still offer some personal touch?
That seems to be the idea. That sweet spot. They apparently focus on individual customer needs, which you don't always get from the giants.
And the reviews back this up. The source mentions consistently good feedback online.
Yeah, Google, Yelp, TripAdvisor, the usual suspects. And maybe more telling, they have repeat customers who've been using them for over 10 years.
Wow, okay. Loyalty like that speaks volumes in the travel world. People wouldn't keep coming back if it wasn't a good experience.
Exactly. Now, what about the cars themselves? They're used, but are they, okay?
Good question. The document details what you get. They're all automatic transmission, which is standard now.
Yep.
Power windows, power locks.
Okay, basics.
Yeah, and some apparently even have backup cameras, Bluetooth, GPS. Not guaranteed on every car, but possible. And importantly, they all have working stereos, are well maintained.
Good tires, good brakes.
Yep. Clean inside, windows and locks work, no fluid leaks, and critically for Maui cold AC.
Ah, yes, the AC. Non-negotiable there.
Absolutely not. And they emphasize the maintenance aspect. They have a full-time professional mechanic.
Okay, so they're actively looking after the fleet. That's reassuring, reduces the worry about breakdowns.
Definitely gives you more peace of mind. And their sourcing strategy is interesting, too. They typically aim for cars around 10 years old.
10 years, okay.
Yeah, and they try to get single-owner cars, lower mileage if possible, with a clear maintenance history.
So they're being selective, not just grabbing any old clunker. They're looking for cars that were likely well taken care of.
It suggests the focus on reliability from the start. Okay, so we get the why, we get Frank's background. Let's talk metal. What kinds of cars can you actually rent? And the big question, what does it cost?
They've got a decent range. Compacts, for starters. Think Toyota Matrix, Pontiac Vibe, Hyundai Elantra, Mazda 3, Ford Fiesta, Kia Soul. Good runabouts.
Perfect for couples or solo travelers, probably.
Yeah. Then midsize options like the Toyota Camry or Kia Optima if you need a bit more space.
And SUVs, always popular in Hawaii.
Yep, plenty of those. Smaller ones like their RE4, Tucson, Escape, then larger ones like the Highlander, Santa Fe, even some Lexus RX models, the 300 and 350.
Lexus. Okay, so used doesn't necessarily mean basic, basic.
Seems not. And they have minivans too, Toyota Sienna, Mazda 5, so families are covered.
Looks like a pretty comprehensive list. What about things like Jeeps or convertibles? The classic Maui rentals.
Ah, good point. Those aren't typically in their used fleet, but the document says they have partnerships, so they can often get discounted rates on those types of vehicles if that's what you really want.
So options exist even if it's not their main thing.
Right. And they also offer newer vehicles too, again at discount rates. And those come with flexible terms. No prepayment, no deposit, no cancellation fee, and even a lowest price guarantee.
That's interesting. So you could still go through Frank's even if you decide against the used option in the end?
Exactly. Flexibility there. But let's get back to the used cars, the prices. The document says they start at around $25 a day.
Okay, starting point. But it varies, right?
Oh, definitely. Depends on the car type, compact versus SUV, obviously. Time of year makes a big difference, high season versus low season, and how long you rent for. Longer rentals usually mean a lower daily rate.
Makes sense. Did they give any typical daily ranges?
They did provide some ballpark figures. Economy compact around $25. Midsize maybe $30. Small SUV $35. Regular SUV $40. A deluxe SUV, maybe like that Lexus, around $45. And minivans around $50.
So even for a minivan, $50 a day seems pretty competitive compared to the major companies, especially during peak times.
It really does. And they mention long-term rates too, around $800 a month. That could be a great deal for someone staying longer.
Yeah, for sure. And they make a point about their pricing being more stable, less of the crazy surge pricing you see elsewhere.
That's what they claim. More consistency, which is nice for budgeting. Of course, for an exact quote for your dates and the car you want, you need to contact them directly.
Right. They list a phone number, 808-280-1196, email.info@mycarental.biz, and there's a contact form on their website.
Easy enough to get a precise figure.
And I like this little note. Can't choose. Let us choose it for you. They'll use their experience to pick something suitable if you're flexible.
Yeah, that's quite customer-friendly, isn't it? Shows confidence in their fleet and understanding customer needs. Okay, so practicalities. Pickup, policies, payment. How does that work?
Pickup is either at their place in Kahului, near the airport, or, as we said, right at the airport, OGG. With advance booking, no waiting. That's the key.
Streamlines everything. And the actual rental process. Pretty standard.
Seems like it.
Yep.
Legally registered cars, proper rental agreement, fuel policy is full to full, or you can prepay for gas. And they mention you're protected against blame for any minor pre-existing dings or scratches.
Good to know.
Yeah.
What about extras like roadside assistance or insurance?
They offer roadside assistance, but they actually suggest checking if you have AAA or something similar first. Might already be covered.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And collision damage waiver.
They recommend checking your credit card benefits. Many cards offer rental car coverage if you use them to pay. Liability, though, that generally comes from your own personal auto insurance. That's pretty standard for rentals.
Okay, standard procedure. And payment, you mentioned credit card.
Yes, specifically credit card only. No debit cards accepted. Important distinction.
Good to flag. People should check their website's FAQ for all the nitty-gritty details, too, it sounds like.
Definitely. And they push this idea of all-in or out-the-door pricing,
Right.
no hidden fees.
Always a plus. Transparency is key. Now, there was a point about minimum rental duration for these used cars, wasn't there?
Yes, important one. For the used local cars, there's a 10-day minimum rental period, and you need to book in advance.
Okay, so this specific option is geared more towards slightly longer stays, like a week and a half or more. What if you're just there for, say, 5 days?
Then you'd look at their new car options, which they also offer at discount rates, and those are available for shorter periods, even immediate pickup.
Got it. So solutions for different trip lengths. And we should probably stress again that all these prices are averages, right? Maui rates are seasonal.
Absolutely. What you actually pay could be higher or lower depending on when you go. Always get that specific quote.
And they do specifically mention special long-term rates for stays of a month or more, thinking about digital nomads, relocating folks.
Traveling nurses, maybe? Yeah, could be very handy for them.
Shows they cater to a wider range of needs than just the typical week-long tourist.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. As we finish this deep dive, what are the main takeaways if you're considering Frank's friendly cars for a used local rental in Maui?
I think it boils down to a few key things. First, affordability. It's likely cheaper than the big guys, especially for longer rentals. Second, that local experience aspect blending in, supporting a local business.
Then there's the reliability factor. Despite being used, they seem focused on well-maintained, dependable cars with the essentials covered.
Right. And finally, the transparent pricing and potentially skipping those airport queues, big practical wins.
So it seems particularly appealing for travelers who, like those customer quotes said, prioritize value and function over flashiness. They just need solid transport.
Exactly. Someone who'd rather spend that extra money on a great meal, a boat trip, or maybe surfing lessons.
Yeah. So maybe the final thought for you, the listener, is this. How might choosing a less obvious, more local-style car actually change your trip?
Could driving something understated allow you to sink a little deeper into the Maui vibe? Maybe see things differently? Could it free up resources, not just money, but maybe mental energy too, to focus on the adventures themselves? Something to consider, definitely, depending on your travel style.